In the heart of a forgotten forest, there was an ancient mansion known as the House of Silent Echoes. The mansion had stood for centuries, abandoned and untouched, its windows dark and its halls filled with secrets. The villagers whispered that it was cursed, that anyone who entered would be lost to the darkness forever. One cold, moonless night, a man named Ethan, driven by a dare and a sense of adventure, decided to explore the mansion. He had heard the stories, but he didn't believe in curses or ghosts. Armed with only a flashlight, he made his way to the front door, which creaked ominously as he pushed it open. Inside, the air was thick with dust and decay. The floorboards groaned under his weight as he moved through the house, his flashlight casting long, flickering shadows on the walls. Every step seemed to echo back at him, but the echoes were not quite right, distorted, delayed. As he explored further, Ethan found a grand staircase leading to the second floor. The air grew colder as he ascended, and the shadows seemed to grow thicker, almost tangible. At the top of the stairs, he saw a door slightly ajar. A faint, eerie light was seeping through the crack. Curiosity got the better of him, and he pushed the door open. Inside was a room filled with old, broken mirrors, their surfaces covered in a layer of grime. But as Ethan stepped closer, he noticed something strange. His reflection was delayed, moving just a fraction of a second slower than he did. Suddenly, the mirrors began to vibrate, and the reflections twisted. They warped into grotesque versions of himself, with hollow eyes and twisted grins. The reflections began to move on their own, stepping out of the mirrors and into the room. Ethan tried to back away, but the door slammed shut behind him. The reflections surrounded him, their hollow eyes staring into his soul. They whispered in voices that were both his and not his, revealing secrets he had never spoken aloud, fears he had buried deep within. The whispers grew louder, overlapping, until they became a deafening roar. In a panic, Ethan tried to smash the mirrors, but each one shattered into darkness, swallowing the room in a void. The last thing he saw was his own terrified face, reflected infinitely in the shards of broken glass, before the darkness consumed him completely. The next morning, the villagers noticed that the mansion had vanished entirely. In its place was an empty clearing, as if the house had never existed. But on still, quiet nights, if you stood at the edge of the forest and listened carefully, you could hear faint echoes, a chorus of voices, trapped in the darkness. They were calling out for help that would never come. Ethan's fate became just another secret in the depths of the dark, and the legend of the House of Silent Echoes continued to haunt those who dared to remember.